One thing I wanted to try to make clear about the LSD experiences is these weren't universal experiences.
Right.
Everybody that was taking LSD in these days wasn't having the same kind of experiences,
right.
nor were they taking it to find enlightenment.
Mm-hmm.
I was really lucky. I think I had read about the experiences of Leary and Alpert and some of the more serious pioneers
mm-hmm.
of LSD, and that, like for instance, I would fast for a week before I would take LSD.
Wow.
Try to prepare my nervous system for the experience.
When you say fast, it means no alcohol, no marijuana.
Not even alcohol, and yeah,
wow.
no marijuana, no alcohol. Just totally water and herb tea. So I did it in a way where I really respected the psychedelic,
mm-hmm.
as I didn't respect hardly anything.
Right.
But
right.
I knew how powerful it was, and I knew that I needed to respect it.
And not everyone did that, obviously.
Not everyone did that. So I was, at first I thought, well, everyone should take LSD.
Mm-hmm.
And we'd stop the war in Vietnam, and we'd all become vegetarians, and everything would be just peace and love, and we would all be nice to each other.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not the way it was. There were the Charles Mansons of the world, and the people who would, I knew people who would take LSD and they'd go to Hollywood and go to clubs.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't do that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It wasn't that I was better, it's just that I was different.
Mm-hmm.
You know? And the people I knew were pretty much doing the same things I was.
Mm-hmm.
One of the conclusions I came to, having a mystical experience on LSD, experience of oneness, of cosmic consciousness, was that, okay, you've had the experience, now you've got to do the work.
Explain.
Well, for instance, in the experience I had out in the desert with my brother, we realized that yogis and mystics have worked and maintained disciplines and performed austerities,
mm-hmm.
and meditated long, hard hours to get some of the experiences that we were having by taking a drug.
Whoa.
And
so it's like you got the benefits, but you didn't truly earn them.
Didn't earn it.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that was made very clear. It wasn't that I made a decision that, okay, I've had the experience, I snuck through.
Mm-hmm.
I snuck into the theater,
mm-hmm.
and didn't have to buy the ticket.
Mm-hmm.
It was made very clear that I'll have to buy the ticket.
How, in what way? Like internally?
Internally, yeah. Okay, you've had the experience, now you've got to do the meditation.
Mm-hmm.
And it may be dry, and you may not have any more experiences
mm-hmm.
like this.
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to have to be a better human being.
And you got this all like internally?
Internally, yeah.
That's kind of scary.
You just can't come off a bar stool and go out in the desert and take acid and become a mystic.
Right.
You can pay the dues before, or you can pay the dues after.
Yeah.
But you've got to pay the dues.
Okay.
And that was the message that was driven home to me.
Which is what probably ultimately pulled you into a deeper search for true spirituality as opposed to chemical spirituality, or however.
Right. You could taste the chemistry. You could taste the chemicals in your system,
mm-hmm.
and one could. I could tell that my nervous system was frying, was burning out. That the drugs were giving me some insights that I wasn't getting normally in normal state of consciousness, but at the same time it was destroying my nervous system. So almost from the beginning I started looking into yoga and meditation to try to if not duplicate the experiences, at least pay my dues.
Right, right. Now, let me ask you this. Again, this psychedelic drug era is absolutely fascinating. As I've mentioned before, my generation missed that. We got into the era of drugs that were all destructive and destroyed your lives in some way, very addictive. But the LSD, the psychedelics, from how you describe it, is completely different. Can you kind of maybe walk us through what was the difference between the psychedelics of the 60s and the early 70s and now, you know, the crack, the rock, the meth, and things of this later generation? Like, what kind of ushered in this new generation of drugs, and why do we become so destructive as opposed to more mind-expanding when you guys are into it?
Well, LSD also destroyed people's lives and destroyed people's sanity. I've witnessed on several occasions people going crazy on it, and losing their minds and never coming back. So it was a very dangerous, powerful drug. Maybe I could give you, like, the first example I had of sort of the social economic differences between the drugs. I was in Haight-Ashbury in the summer of 1967, and when I hitchhiked up there from Costa Mesa, California, and when I got up there, I met this very strange character, and he showed me around the Haight Street area, and told me where good places to crash. And this was in the beginning of this was the summer of love, 1967, and he told me that on one half of Haight Street, it was still, to use his words, he said it's still pure, meaning people were taking LSD, they were smoking pot, they were sharing what they had. LSD at that time was either completely free, people were giving it away, or I think the most I ever paid was $3 for a tablet of acid that would last a couple of days.
So you take it and the experience would actually last 2 days?
The experience itself would maybe last up to 8 hours, but you'd still be feeling, I would still be feeling residual effects for several days afterwards, still kind of jangly and sort of a nervous system rebound, and so it was not a profitable drug. People weren't making money off of it. People were giving it away, or there was maybe an agenda of let's turn everybody on and the world will be a better place. It was that kind of philosophy. And then there are people who have more sinister theories about it, and its use by the government and the CIA and the military. But I can only speak from my own personal experience. So when I was on Haight Street, being shown the places to go, places to do your laundry, stores that were friendly to hippies, he pointed across the street and he said, this side of Haight Street is already corrupted.
Wow.
And he said the reason why it's corrupted is because of methamphetamine. And he said the hate is going down. And he said the methamphetamine brings violence, and it brings greed, and it brings craziness. And it's been my experience that where there's a big profit to be made, that's what's going to happen.
Okay.
So I don't think LSD was profitable. It was philosophical.
Got it.
And it was dangerous, but it wasn't profitable.
Okay, I think that really does. That's probably the clearest explanation. My entire life I've wondered, how did we get from the 60s era to the hardcore drugs of the 80s? And I'd never really understood that. But there was no money to be made.
There's no money to be made, right.
Very interesting.